Hello, Stellar Mommies here. I am Dr. Della Parker, and this is integrative nutritionist Amy Hardesty. We are Stellar Mommies coming at you. You can find us in Clackamas, Oregon at Stellar Health and Wellness, serving all the mommies and their families. And then you can also check us out on stellarhw.com. Follow our blog, check us out on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah, totally. So yeah, today
we're going to interview Dr. Della and find out kind of how this whole journey began and how we ended up where we are and where Stellar is going.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about where you came from, your background.
So I came from the hood. So I was born and raised in Northeast Portland. When I was there, I didn't really feel like it was the hood, but when I look back now, there was legit like drive-bys in high school. People are like, what? There's actual drive-bys? I'm like, yeah, we were on 82nd. There's like a prostitute down there, and then we just go past her to go to McDonald's for lunch. Like, it's a normal thing.
Right.
Apparently not normal for a lot of people. But, yeah. So, I don't know. I have, I guess through middle school and high school, I lived with my dad and my brother and sister. And my dad was just working a lot to support us. And so we, bless his heart, like we ate pizza and Coca-Cola and McDonald's and like Doritos and big things of orange juice, chocolate milk. Like when we had iceberg lettuce for a salad, like we thought we were having a fancy meal. So I did not. And then I was also a hot mess of health. Like it's crazy to think that like every day we'd get lunch money and I would buy, I don't know if you had this at your high school, but we have Pizza Hut pizza, and then those mega chip cookies that were like so greasy and gooey, and that would be my lunch every day. And I didn't know why. My eczema was like so jacked up and itchy.
I was going to ask you, did you have like the skin issues and stuff from those foods?
My skin was horrible, and then I was also like hospitalized for asthma a couple times in high school.
Yeah.
Like 2 super inflammatory diseases that
But 30 years ago, they didn't necessarily associate foods with.
Well, when you say okay, how old am I? 30 years ago, Amy, thanks a lot.
I mean, 12 years ago.
When I was in high school a couple years ago. I guess it is like 20 years ago. But anyways.
But like, I mean, the medical community wasn't necessarily associating foods with asthma being.
I think it depends when you say medical community. I think even now, the medical community of like Western medicine doesn't associate foods with eczema.
Okay.
Our naturopathic community always has and does, and they were around back then, just probably a much smaller, quieter group than we are now.
Right.
But still now, my husband is like, nags me, you just go to a dermatologist, because in his mind, like, I just need to see a dermatologist. They could give a rip about anything that I eat. They do not associate eczema, which is an inflammatory condition, or even asthma with anything that you're consuming food-wise.
Sure.
It's just not in their wheelhouse. But anyways, so yeah, that's kind of...
Growing up that way, how did you end up in natural medicine?
So I went to Portland State and got a bachelor's in science, and I wanted to be a nurse. And because I wanted to be a nurse, it was super competitive. I applied for a job at a health clinic to be a receptionist so I could put something on my resume. And when I went there, they were a holistic clinic. I didn't know what the heck holistic meant. Like, I remember I walked in and they like asked me what my sign was and stuff, and I thought, these people are crazy. And so I actually turned the job down, and they were like, no, you need to work for us.
Wow.
And I was like, what is wrong with these people? Like, it's like downtown. It was in the Pearl District, and I was like, I'm not trying to pay for parking. Like, that's going to be not making, and it didn't pay very well. But they were very insistent that I work for them. And so, come to find out, this is going to sound crazy, but I think it's amazing now, and I love it. So, Dr. Cyprian and Dr. Watson is a chiropractor and a naturopath. My resume, because they got like 1 million resumes from Craigslist or whatever, my resume in the paper, it printed out with a dead bug in it. And so, like, when it came through, like, there's like a dead bug on it. And so they're like, who's this person? Like, that's weird that the paper, like, ingrained in it had this dead bug. And so
that's crazy.
My resume stood out from everybody's. And then Carlotta, Dr. Watson, she did like a meditation, like, because they had like had a bad luck with different receptionists. And so she was like, did a meditation on like how to find like the perfect person for your office or whatever. And apparently in her meditation, she saw me, like my color hair and wearing like what I was wearing when I went to the interview.
Crazy.
And so they were sure that I needed to work for them, even though I said no.
So when you turned it down, they came after you.
Yeah. And so I was like,
Wow.
they like me. Like, okay, I'll work for you. And then
Yeah.
still I was like, okay, we'll work here for a little bit. But they actually totally changed my life. Like, Dr. Cyprian was like, he started, because, you know, he doesn't want his office staff to look sick. And so he started taking care of me and taught me about diet. It's kind of a joke that, like, I was just like, Kleenex everywhere I went, always, because I always had a runny nose. Like, that went away. My skin got better. My asthma got better. Like,
Did he practice nutritional response testing?
yeah, so he
Okay.
did applied kinesiology,
Okay.
which is like it's a chiropractic thing. It's much more in depth than the nutrition response testing, but it utilizes muscle testing. So they kind of got me into that whole world of just natural medicine. And like, I could see like with their patients walking out, like how everybody was getting better. And like, I wanted like my whole family to start doing it because
Yeah.
I just saw how awesome it was. And then
Were you married at that point? No.
no,
Okay.
I was not. I was living in the Pearl, dating a lot of boys. Actually, I think I moved to the Pearl, yeah, like after I started working there.
Okay.
But where was I with this whole story? I'm like, where am I going here?
Their patients were leaving.
Yeah, so like everybody's getting better. And so I applied to nursing school and I didn't get in.
Do you know why? That's
Well,
crazy.
it was super competitive. Like, it still
Oh,
is.
okay.
Like, you have to have a really high GPA in Oregon anyways. A lot of the schools actually just do a lottery because it's so many applicants. And so I just didn't get in. And I was, like, devastated. Like, that's what I thought I was supposed to do with my life. And I was the first person in my whole family to graduate from college. And so they were like, you need to be a doctor. And I was like... You guys are out of your mind crazy. Like, I'm not a straight A student. Like, I took 5 years to graduate from Portland State because I like drinking and hanging out with boys. And so I was like, I am not an academic type. Like,
Right.
nobody expects me to be a doctor. Everybody's like blown away that I actually went through college. So anyways, I was like, whatever, you guys are pushing me to do it. So I'll apply thinking like I would never get in. And then I got in and I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be so embarrassing when I flunk out. Like, this is,
You really thought that?
oh my God, I totally was like, I'm gonna let them down. Because like I said,
Oh, wow.
not that my family doesn't love me, but nobody had those expectations for me to do anything in life. I mean, I could have been a waitress and they would have been happy. Like,
Right.
being a nurse was like, oh my gosh, you're doing big things.
Yeah.
And so nobody was pushing me other than them.
Right.
And I remember my first test, Dr. Bronze, for all of you people out there that went to NCNM, anatomy test so hard. And like, I studied and studied and studied. And I was like, this is it. Like, I am going to fail. I got a 98%. And
Oh, wow.
literally, for some reason, I would say my life got changed with the Craigslist ad because
Yeah.
ever since like I met them and they put me on this path, like my life has been so much better, like health and just like abundance of like what I can create. And like school was like really, I mean, not that it's easy because it's freaking hard, but it was the easiest path I ever took. Like when I was
Wow.
stressed out or whatever and like couldn't study, I would just be like, universe, this is what I meant to do. Make it happen because I am hanging on by a thread. And I passed and I would make it through. And it was just always worked out for me.
That's awesome. So
So-
at what point you stepped out on your own and had Dr. Della Parker?
So yeah, after I graduated, I kind of worked with Dr. Watson for a little bit. And then I got pregnant. Well, so I had Weston my last year in school. So like I said, I graduated.
Like 10 minutes before.
10 minutes before. Literally, I had him 4 days before graduation. And I didn't want to go to graduation because my husband's like, you need to go to graduation. Like, it's medical school. I was like, who cares? I just created a human in my living room. Like, that is the coolest thing in the world. Who gives a rip about medical school? But I went, and so
Did you really carry him across the stage? with
I
you?
didn't carry him
Oh, okay.
because I should have, like, in hindsight. I remember sitting in the hard chairs, like, waiting for my name to be called. And, like, I think my mom had him out in the hall or something. And my butt hurt so bad because I just given birth, and I was like, why didn't I bring like a donut to sit on or something? I was like, oh God, please just call my name so I can leave. But yeah, so I started working with Dr. Watson for a little bit, and then I got pregnant with Isley. And so, I don't know, long story short, I ended up working for a couple, I bought a practice from Dr. Alexis Shields, who also had a huge impact in changing my life. But those patients, I kind of hobbled around another chiropractic office until I was trying to find the right fit for like what I had envisioned for the growth of the business. And it came to a point where I was like, I just need to go out on my own.
Scary.
I have an intuitive counselor, and she's helped me with a lot of decisions in my life, just like helping me like probably come to the conclusions that I already know. But at one point she was like, you need to be out on your own. Like, you need to have your own business. And I was like, nope, next option. Like, I was not, like, I'm glad that you have that faith in me and you see that in my stars, but like, move along, because I am not interested in running a business. And it took me a while to be like, until I was like up against a wall, like trying to make things work the way I wanted them to, where I was like, all right, same thing. Like, here we go. It's probably going to fail. And I got an office space, went out on my own. It was just Dr. Della Parker Natural Medicine. Busiest month I ever had in business was my first month on my own. And so I was like, again, like the path was like meant to happen. It was kind of crazy.
And how long did you do that for?
So, well, what did we do that for? I was just in one office, me and a receptionist, for 2 years about. And then a receptionist came into my life, and she was just like super positivity and motivation, and I just happened to tell her, like, yeah, 5-year plan. I'd love to create a wellness center someday. And when I said 5-year plan, like in reality, in my brain, I was thinking 10-year plan, because I didn't have, I felt like the know-how or the tools or the people or the money, like anything to create it. And she just like, I don't know, inspired me to get my wheels turning about it. And then same thing, like I met you, and then office space became available. And, like, the vision started to form.
Those were scary conversations, too.
Yeah, I met a man who also, like, just was, like, worked in my big office building. And we would talk about business and stuff. And, like, he would give me a book I needed to read and, like, things like that. And that was also, like, okay, like, I can think like this. I can do this. Yeah. And it just got me, I don't know, the wheels turning. And then, like, literally everything fell into place. I met, so like you were on board right away. We'll have to talk about how we met and all that. Like that was another like serendipity, life-changing moment.
Mainly for me.
No, not at all. Because seriously, we wouldn't be doing this if I hadn't met you. I seriously would not have felt like I had a partner to co-create with and to go do this. That is so true. Like I would have been like, why would I build a wellness center? I have like nobody else coming at this with me. Like I have tears in my eyes right now. So when that happened, then it was just us, and we got the space. And I kind of had talked to another chiropractor that deep down I knew wasn't a good fit. I had talked to a mental health therapist that like deep down I knew, like even though we were talking about contracts, like I just knew wasn't like the brand I wanted to represent, and that was really hard. And then somebody we thought we had doing massage ended up changing their mind. And so it was very like...
Kind of felt scary after you made the decision, like, uh-oh, what just happened?
I already like put money down on this office space, and me and Amy are just going to hang out in it. Like...
a big break room.
Yeah. But then like patients of mine, like Yvonne, who's our massage therapist, she was a patient. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but I love you, don't sue me. And she reached out to me, or I think actually I asked her, like, hey, ever thought about coming aboard? And that ended up being an amazing fit. And then our chiropractor, she was on my mailing list, and she had seen that, like, we were moving. And she was like, hey, you wouldn't happen to be looking for a chiropractor, would you? And I was like, oh, my gosh, you would be the perfect person ever. And, like, everything fell into place perfectly.
Yeah. And so before we moved, you had rebranded Dr. Della Parker as Stellar. Where did that all come from?
Well, I knew that, like, Dr. Della Parker is, like, me. And so, obviously, we need to have, like, a brand name that can, like, live beyond me. And, like, my thought behind it was, like, I need to have a name of a clinic that like I can pass down to my kids, or I could maybe sell someday for like retirement purposes. But the name Stellar, it's hard coming up with a clinic name.
I'm sure.
Like, it's really hard. I have to tell you the story. It's really funny. So when you're trying to think of like a name that represents like you and like how you want to be portrayed in your clinic, like anybody who knows me, I'm like trying to think of something like funny or like with like a little bit of energy. And so I came up with Spunk. I was like, I'm spunky. Like that'll like sit well with people.
Yeah.
So I purchased Spunk.
I didn't know this story.
Okay,
this
so
is new to me.
I purchased spunkhealth.com. So there's not a website up. And I was really excited. My brother, who's big into business, like I always run my business stuff by him. And I was like, I got it, Spunk Health, like it's gonna be awesome. And he started dying laughing. So a lot of you are probably dying laughing right now too, because spunk has a meaning on the Urban Dictionary that a lot of men know what spunk is. I had no idea.
I don't know.
Amy has no idea. Go to Urban Dictionary and look up spunk. And you'll realize what it is. And you don't want to have a wellness center named Spunk Wellness or Spunk Health unless you plan to have men coming in with semen samples. Okay, so that's what I was going to name my wellness center until my brother like gave me a newsflash and my heart was broken. And so, yeah. I know.
Well,
right?
thank you, brother, because
that could have been. I could have been like the laughing stock of like all teenage boys, really, that like see the sign. Yeah,
that's really funny. Or we'd be really busy. I don't know.
So yeah, I don't know. Or we'd be really busy. Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know. Stellar. So Dr. Cyprian and Dr. Watson, when I was their receptionist, they used to call me Stellar D. It was like their nickname for me. And so it was Stellar D, C Mama, and C Daddy, and so we were a crew. And so I was like, well, Stellar Health and Wellness, like it kind of takes it back to like how this whole thing even started. And so that's why I chose Stellar.
That's a really cool,
but
full circle moment.
I think people are confused now because they think my name is Stella Parker, and that's why it's called Stellar.
That's really funny.
Like,
I do have a lot of people ask me.
I didn't foresee that problem.
How long is Stella's waiting list?
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Della's waiting list.
Yeah. Whatever. And Stellar, I don't know. I like it.
You could have a worse nickname.
Yeah, totally.
So where are we going? Where do you see Stellar in the next 5-10 years?
I don't know.
Because I need to buckle up and get ready for this.
I know. So I don't know. I think right now we're trying to expand and hire another naturopath just because I'm maxed out. We're so busy.
Oh, maxed out.
It's so awesome. And I don't ever want to like complain about that problem.
Yeah.
But I don't want to work 5 days a week.
Right.
Like I don't want to, and I could, which would be like amazing financially, but I want to volunteer at our kids' school. Yeah. I want to, exercise and like get my mental I don't know, just have some me time, be with kids, clean the house, get home for dinner, make dinner, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully we can find a really good fit that represents the brand, because if I didn't mention it, Stellar is all mommies, and so it didn't I didn't think that was like what it had to be, but now that it is, it has to be. Like Haley is a dog mommy, and so she counts.
Haley's our office manager.
She's our office manager. But I love men, but I don't want to work with them. Sorry. We want to rock the mommy brand.
Yeah.
So
I think it makes us relatable to the people that we work with the most.
Totally. Yeah. So, I'm talking to a couple mommy docs. Hopefully we'll find the right fit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I hope to step back and write a book in the next 5 years. Mm-hmm. And so if I can find the right doctor to kind of come in and do what I do and be emulate how I am with my patients a little bit, then that would be awesome. I don't know. As soon as we got into this space, we realized we were growing out of it already.
Yeah.
And so I hate to be the roaming naturopath. I always joke that I kept moving because I couldn't find where I needed to be. We are where we need to be, but we need more space now because we want to grow.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I kind of floated the idea of opening a second location by my husband, and he squashed because he's all about you just need to take care of you and work 3 days a week and take care of your family. You don't need to go conquer the world and make $1 million, which that's not my goal anyways. But I just feel there's such a need for what we're offering right now.
Obviously, yeah.
We're like blowing up, and it's like, that is awesome. But I feel like, how do we just like leave that on the table and not serve the people that need what we're offering? I feel like we need to expand upon it.
Just like all along, like doors will open when it's time.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe it'll be the door next door and we can just push that
That's
wall out.
exactly. I kind of want the real estate firm next to us to fail so we can knock out a wall and just take over that space.
Or maybe they'll explode and move. Not explode,
Maybe,
like their business will get busy.
Maybe they'll get so busy that they need a bigger space and they'll move on.
Exactly.
That's a way to be positive.
There you go. Yeah. That's exciting.
I don't know, but I really want
Quite a journey.
like write a book about like, I don't know. Anybody who follows us knows I'm big on adrenals and mommy adrenal failure and all that stuff. And so, I don't know, I think writing a relatable book in English that people can understand about how to support that system in their bodies would be awesome. And so that's a project I have like just had on the table kind of.
You do know that will also bring more patients to the clinic for you, right?
Yeah, I know. We're actually going to start doing we're working on it with our web people. I don't know if I told you, a new patient application.
Oh, that's
It's
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah.
So I can pick my patients. I don't have to just, we've got a huge wait list, and like I'll be able to pick the people that I know want to work with me, not just like, oh, I found you on the internet. Like they know me, they understand what I'm offering, and so that way hopefully it'll be a better working relationship. So
That's awesome.
But yeah,
Oh, that's
I
great.
don't know. Hopefully we'll just keep growing. In the meantime, we're having fun.
We are having fun. It's a great atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's a great atmosphere. Haley's wonderful, and getting to know our chiropractor and our massage therapist is just, it's evident, like it's a good cohesive group of women that are going to encourage each other and encourage each other's business growth. And
Totally. We've been doing more like corporate events and things, which is
Yeah.
also so much fun.
it is fun.
Yeah.
It's
so
really fun.
hopefully, I don't know, hopefully that part of it can continue to grow too, because that's something, I don't know, it's work, but it's fun every time we do it.
Always fun. And those are people that are getting an insight into their health that they might not have gotten otherwise, because we have a wait list or they wouldn't have known about you. I mean, being able to get that internal picture is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Fun. Well,
So
thank you.
so that's my story. Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. It's exciting to see how far you've come in a short amount of time. It's inspiring to those of us who haven't been doing this very long.
Yeah, well, thank you. I don't know. It is crazy just to think about. So my brother and I, he's a business owner also, and he's killing it. And we always joke about, like, you really have to, like, shoot for the moon when you, like, make your dreams, because he always, like, envisioned, like, in life, all he wanted was a refrigerator that made ice.
He's told me that. I love that.
It's like, he's like, okay, I got a refrigerator that makes ice. Like, okay. And I, like, when I was in high school or whatever, I thought that if I had a house that had a fake living room, like a nice living room that you don't really go in, it's just there for looks. Like, if you had that in your home, like, you have made it big time.
Guess where we're sitting right now?
Sitting in my fake living room. And so he's like, we should have had bigger goals and dreams.
Right.
And I'm like, I know, right? Like, we've kind of like, we're, in our 30s and we've done it. We've got a refrigerator that makes ice and a fake living room. And I've got an SUV. That was the other thing that was like, if I could have an SUV, like, I thought that, like, our neighbor had a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and she was, like, a super awesome PTA mom. And I remember thinking, like, oh, if I could ever have that car, I can't even imagine a life where that would happen.
Right. And here you are.
And here we are.
Yeah.
And so it's just awesome. I don't know. You can do it.
You can do it.
Shoot for the stars.
Right.
You'll land at the moon, right? Is that what they say?
I think that's how that goes.
Yeah.
Or the moon, you'll land on a star.
Oh, I don't know.
I
Something
don't know.
like that.
Go for your goals.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for taking the time to share your story.
Yeah.
And that's exciting.
All right. Well, we'll check you guys out. Thanks for joining us.